example, Alex Jones here back live, of why I'm not even frustrated. I'm just waiting for the answer, the key. And I know there's not a silver bullet in this world, but I know one key is being excited, being passionate, and letting people know that you're really concerned. Because I don't get excited on air as an act. But we've got to imitate success. And the fact that I, from a grassroots position, have been the most successful in this planet's history of exposing the hidden global elites and combines right at the point when they are emerging, because when they finally fully take over, they have to emerge. And so they're now announcing the secret torture, the forced drugging, the social engineering, the illegal spying, the funding of Al-Qaeda, the government trafficking in narcotics, major banks laundering hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, all this stuff that I would get threats over. I would have Terry Reid on, who wrote Compromised, Clinton, Bush, and the CIA. I mean, he was there. He saw the famous people at the airfield flying in the cocaine. He was a trainer for pilots. They were already pilots, but training them on how it was done. I mean, he was there, and he said, this is cocaine? In fact, Google that, Compromised, Clinton, Bush, and the CIA. I want to show people that book. I want to get him on. I keep saying get him on. I know we're trying to find his number and been contacting people. And I would get him on the show, or other people, and I mean, I had famous whistleblowers on, had them on all the time. And I'd come walking out at my apartment, and there'd be a car sitting there, and a guy'd walk over, you know, in a suit. It'd be an FBI agent. And they'd say, how you doing, Alex? Better watch yourself. And I'd be like, who are you? You look like a Fed. And it's like, have a nice day. Or I'd be in a Target parking lot, and there'd be, you could tell, like, special forces guys, and you're getting in your car, and they walk over and go, you think you're really tough, buddy? You better watch your bleeping. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, oh, come on. Come on, you planning something? You planning to blow something up? Huh? And I'm like, no. Well, you better watch it. Or I'd be at the Access TV studio. I mean, I think about all this stuff, and it's just like, now it's just, yeah, it's in Bloomberg. Wells Fargo, Warren Buffett laundered $378 billion in cocaine, heroin, and marijuana money. And it's just, so what? I mean, used to, they were so concerned that I would be having a guest on like that, naming names. I mean, used to, I'd talk about DynCorp running child kidnapping rings in congressional testimony, and it was even the Chicago Tribune. And I would get death threats over that. I mean, really serious ones. I would get really serious death threats. I mean, you could tell when a really serious, mean man calls you up, and there's no ID on the phone number, no numbers, no nothing. And it sounds like some guy out of a movie going, hey, how you doing, Alex? You know, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to cut your head off, blah, blah, blah. That's all going on out there. They don't even care now. What's going on? The president is announcing worldwide that illegals get basically free in-state tuition, you name it, free welfare, and now it's in the news that if you've been here one day, you can get a tax refund. Free money. It's totally illegal. All of it's illegal. That's what I mean. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's just hundreds of things where the government just does whatever it wants, whenever it wants. I mean, Al Gore said that the North Pole and the South Pole would be completely melted by 2013, and the North Pole is 43% bigger, according to NASA satellites, and the South Pole is 20-something. In fact, just pull it up and then show them the numbers. Boston is having record-shattering snow. Turns neighbor against neighbor. That's CBS News. And they're saying that's global warming. I mean, do you get what I'm saying here? We have complete, out-of-their-mind, crazy criminals running the country. And they don't get in trouble for it. I mean, everybody's mad at Brian Williams being a big fat liar. Al Gore says he invented the internet. Why hasn't Hillary stepped down from public life? She told the exact same type of lie that creep Brian Williams told. The same ones that get up there and say, parents aren't vaccinating. It's the law, and they should be arrested. I mean, you can pull. I've seen that slack-jawed, pretty boy punk. I'm just sick of dishonorable trash. I'm sick of people enjoying selling people out and preying on people. Let me tell you what I'm really tired of. I'm tired of the good men out there doing nothing. What are you doing to fight these people? Get out there, take action, because I'm telling you it's all coming to the head. If we're putting up with all this now, imagine what's coming next. I'm going to cover a bunch of news, bunch of clips. Stay with us. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against it. You have to be that standard in your area. You're not going to find in the big establishment churches any fight against tyranny. The major denominations have been captured and are now engines of tyranny. Every basic freedom, every basic checks and balance is being annihilated. The announcements are being made of the federalization of your private 401ks. It's all beginning. The moves are being made. The decisions have been made to engage in a totalitarian, authoritarian, command and control, centralized, global, computer-monitored, surveilled, directed, panopticonic system designed to destroy the souls of men. Our world is captured. Our planet is in the hands of the devil. God help us. All these Pharisees will get mad if you listen to rock and roll music, but they're not mad at the abortuary down the street. It's cutting up babies right now. Or they're mad at some veteran because they've got tattoos all over them. You can point at them, look at them, tattoos all over that veteran. While meanwhile, you're doing nothing to warn people about vaccines. You're probably taking them. I'm talking about establishment type people. All these facts are there that the vaccines are just one example of a forced criminal annihilation of our people, with the UN and other groups caught obtaining vaccines all over the world to kill people, sterilize them, you name it. Let me tell you what they do in countries like Syria, where they've got captured areas of the country and send in the multinational UN force. They don't give you shots that just make 1 out of 54 kids or 55 kids mentally retarded. They give them shots that kill a large number of people. That was in the news just 2 weeks ago. In Africa, they tell the local town, yeah, you get $1 million in aid if you forcibly vaccinate everybody on your census roll. And they go out and they show up these villages in India and Africa and other areas at night. This is all over the news. And they come in with gunpoint and shoot everybody up. And then every woman who's pregnant has a miscarriage. I've got the news reports. Every woman within 2 days. I've seen the women interviewed in Indonesia and Chad and Africa. And they go, the baby was moving, and the next day, baby quit moving in my tummy. And 2 days later, the baby come out. And the only woman who keep baby run to woods. And they come back and take her to government clinic, and baby, she lose baby. I mean, we're just going to let them murder us? These bastards? I can't take it anymore. It's a load of, I'm sick of it. And I'm not above it. It's like I'm without it. It's like I'm outside of it now. They all run in here and they go, let's go make fun of these communists. They're going to have an InfoWars magazine burning party. And now these communist sites, them with red flags and how they're going to, protest. It should be fun to go protest a bunch of communists and, show them protesting and burning books. But I don't even want to be around them. We're dealing with a scientific takeover that, again, might as well be space aliens. It's so sophisticated and evil. And I'm not going to go be around a bunch of slack-jawed morons with red flags. You want to burn magazines? Just knock yourselves out, man. Because I'll be honest with you. I've had communists get in my face plenty of times, and I can't put up with it anymore, okay? I cannot put up with idiots anymore. I cannot put up with stupid people that have no idea how much trouble we're in and follow some Rockefeller-programmed communist thing because you think red stars look cool and Rage Against the Machine. Oh, I got all this news. I need to get to it. I can just see all the programming. That's why I just, they're all victims. Out of control, power tripping cops. Just, they've had their souls sucked out. I mean, it's a zombie. All these control freak trendies on the streets, zombies. Anybody with this system, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. That's not creepy and dystopic. Free vaccines at McDonald's. Thousands of studies, 25 of them looked at by Harvard, confirming massive IQ reduction when you drink hydrofluorosilicic acid or fluoride in your water. That's a fact, Jack. And by the way, they brag and write books about why they put it in the water so they can sit there and look down their fake intellectual predatory noses and just laugh at you when they walk through airports or see you on the street. They're just surveying you, what they've done with the GMO, what they've done with the vaccines. It's all a big sick joke. And then they have the Hollerith Watson computers on the death list for the troops now. Who could make that up? I mean, this is just too much. And what don't we know about? Who do they have working in these corporations and these governments? How do people sit there at the Monsanto genetic engineering facilities? This is CBC, you name it. This is confirmed. First time it was out was 15 years ago. Another report 2 years ago. They were asking, they have all organic at the Monsanto facilities with geneticists and people getting paid $1 million a year, some of them. And when you go look at who these geneticists are, they're all eugenicists, folks. Dr. Pianka at UT, the FBI actually did something good in that case. I was reading his quotes and showed his UT website where he talks about Lucifer, and he's in a white robe and says he's a druid, and he heads up a department at the time in biology. Who can make that up? And he's saying, soon the airborne Ebola will be released and we'll all be dead. And he goes to England and everyone gets these awards and standing ovations. So I said, this guy needs to be investigated. That's who you investigate. And then the FBI did go talk to him. I don't know why I went off on that story. Oh, yeah. And then we started getting threatened. And this woman was sending us threats and saying, don't talk bad about him. And, you know, all this. It was several of his graduate students, 2 of them were women. It was like a little campaign. And I went and looked up one of these women. And it was her now as a microbiology doctor working at a facility. And I looked up the grant and what work they were doing. And it was all this recombinant RNA, DNA splicing connected into weapons development. And there she was in that white lab coat, a doctor now. And she sent us this letter going, Dr. Pianka is actually not hardcore enough. He believes only 90% should die. Who could disagree? We're a disease, that we're a cancer, and that all humans must be killed. I mean, these are flaming cult members, folks. I'm not crazy. They are. They're dangerous. I see humans and love them. They see humans and hate them. Well, I got news for you. I know you want to be the good stewards and get rid of us first, and then you'll off yourself later. Bull. You have a heart after your father, and you love hurting people, and you love cornering people. You just do it with the establishment on a big scale, where you're run-of-the-mill person like Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy or Jeffrey Dahmer goes out and grabs little kids off the street or young women. And then they use them up for weeks down in a pit. And they The psychopaths, I've had the top psychologists, psychiatrists talking about, they say they're in these dark, horrible worlds. It's always associated with the occult. And they don't feel like they're alive until they're torturing someone. And then they torture the children until they, quote, use them up. And they can't terrify them or torture them anymore. And then they finally chop them up. And they love the smell of rotting meat. I mean, who are these people? They're like an interdimensional plague of psychic parasites. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you this, these people have to be dealt with. And in my spirit, I absolutely, not in a hateful way, but in the way you, Lance Boyle, want to go after them. And they want us to do it violently because they think they can dumb that down and control that paradigm. They don't want it to be a spiritual, cultural change of awareness and just see these people and go, whoa, because we've been so long slowly indoctrinated into all this, slowly put into all this, and marinated in it so long that we've become super accepting of just over-the-top garbage. I mean, I didn't believe people when they told me that like half the BBC were pedophiles and they were taking kids to the royal family and they were naming names, and this prime minister would slit little girls' throats in his office and they put plastic down on the floor and they'd go have sex with the dead kids here and they'd do this and that and I would be like, delay. When people like David Icke was on like 15 years ago naming names, I was, because, I can't, it's just outrageous to say, that somebody's a pedophile, bring them to the royals, and then it all comes out they are. And I'd get on the break and tell David, I'm sorry, do not name names when you're saying this. And then I think, my God, what else is he right about? I mean, it's just so over the top, man. Weirdo disc jockeys bringing little kids to the royal family? Who can come up with stuff like this? Who are these people? And why do we put up with them? And then there's the epic thought, why me? Why am I on air fighting with these people? Where are the other men? There are smarter, better looking men than me who are more eloquent. What's your problem? Oh, well, this is too much. See, because there's the argument of, hey, scale it down. People might wake up if you give them little baby steps. Maybe that works with some people. I found all that works is just slapping somebody upside the head with the full tidal wave of evil. Or as much as you can warn and just go, hey, this is going on in your gut. And that's why people will buck up and say, I don't want to hear it. That's crazy. Because deep down, they know. They've all got a spider sense. They've all got a sixth sense. They've all got a subconscious mind that knows all this stuff. They've been preparing people with subliminals. I showed Comedy Central doing it to us today. Admitted subliminal. They've been doing this to get people ready, and I'm picking up on the overt subliminal, the sub-subliminal. These are just terms I'm coming up with. There's different types of them. And, man, I just don't want to wake up and they've nuked a bunch of cities. I mean, there's just no telling what these people will do. They're just so evil is what I'm telling you. We're all in grave danger. And I've gone past getting chills and my hair standing up when I talk about these people now, and it's gone past that. Now it's not even, I can't describe the emotion. It's beyond being stunned. It's just, what? It's like in They Live where Rowdy Piper puts the glasses on and he goes, it figures it'd be something like this. And he starts laughing because it's just so over the top. It's just like, what? And I've got to convince, and then all these people on Comedy Central, CNN, all these things, I mean, they listen to the show. They watch the show. I don't think I've run into, and I'm not bragging, I'm saying the effect we've had, like Sonar, the ping we're getting. I don't think I've run into or met a major celebrity that doesn't listen to the show. Almost all of them are listeners. Think they like being left or right and on little controlled reservations and not being able to politically speak out? So they're all intimidated, won't speak out. So it's this paradox where there's a huge amount of people that are awake, and then there's people that aren't awake, but of the people that are awake, most of them are scared to speak out. And I think it's because they're all doing what I'm doing. They're looking for the silver bullet. They're looking for the lever. They're looking for the way. Well, it's already there. It's inside us. We have to make the fundamental decision to break with the establishment at a spiritual level. And to break with these phony churches and to break with the Pharisees who've got giant lumber yards in their eyes while they tell us what to do from a holier-than-thou, lecturing, Jezebelian spirit. And we have to start really focusing on what are we doing every day to change our lives, to do the right thing, to stand up against corruption, to reach out to people that are doing good, to support each other. Because we're in a 21st century war. And the nasty technocrats and the PR firms and the media whores, the deceivers, the Decepticons that are in these positions. I mean, you people all know you're helping bring in the fall of civilization. You all know that you are destroying your family's future. And most of them will say, yeah, I do know that, but I got to make as much money as I can now. As we're maneuvered towards global collapse with 2 quadrillion in derivatives, many times all the wealth in the world, designed to bring us into a global collapse, global depression, and the answer will be a global, standardized, computerized world government with world IDs and world chips to buy and sell so that everything can be integrated and safe and fun and wonderful. And then it's really about social compliance to medically make everybody take the so-called vaccines that are really just behavioral modifying nanotech now. I mean, that's what these designed viruses are. They're not viruses. They're completely artificial. I mean, it's so science fiction that like 15 years ago, they had anti-stress vaccines they were testing, and then now they give them to the troops, and they usually go commit suicide a month later. And they give them a vaccine that viruses go and attack and eat areas of your brain associated with spiritual experiences, joy, anguish, the real center of humanity, the real high points, what it's all about. The state I live in constantly. And now Bill Gates says we're going to put it in the food. We're going to put it in the air. We're going to have nanobots. Just where you're going to give you as you can read the literature. That's their end game, folks. The end of free will, where you get one of these vaccines, or it's in one of these GMO bananas, where pharmacological crops, where it grows it in the banana. You eat it. You get sick for 2 days. You get out of bed, and you're just not a person anymore. You just don't have. It's like a lobotomy. You just don't have that connection to your spirit anymore. But let me tell you, you can't get our spirit, Bill Gates. So even if you do that, even if you lobotomize me or anybody else, as long as our spirits were lined up with God, go straight there and out of your hands. And that's the true salvation, and that's the ultimate victory, and you'll be with all your damn demons. My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.